Hello and welcome to IMC Radio Podcast. Today we're exploring the top news headlines for February 17th, 2025. From political clashes to devastating tragedies and international intrigue, there's a lot to unpack, so let's dive right now.
Indeed, the news today paints a rather complex picture of the world we live in.
Our first stop takes us to Uganda, where a prominent opposition leader, Kizza Besigye, finds himself at the center of a political storm. Besigye, a longtime critic of President Yoweri Museveni and a four-time presidential candidate, was detained in November on charges of illegal weapons possession. He's been on a hunger strike to protest his detention, and his health has taken a serious turn for the worse.
This situation has deep roots in Ugandan politics. Besigye has been a thorn in the side of Museveni's government for decades, advocating for democratic reforms and challenging what many see as an increasingly authoritarian regime. This latest incident has sparked widespread protests and put a spotlight on Uganda's human rights record.
It's a truly dramatic scene. Besigye, weakened by his hunger strike, being rushed from prison to a hospital in a wheelchair. The image itself speaks volumes about the lengths he's willing to go to for his cause. And it raises a big question. How will the government respond to this growing pressure?
Well, there's been a significant development. Initially, Besigye's case was being heard in a military court, which drew sharp criticism from international human rights groups. But recently, Uganda's Supreme Court ruled that trying civilians in military courts is unconstitutional.
So does that mean Besigye is getting a fair shake now?
Not so fast. While the government has announced the transfer of his case to a civilian court and urged him to end his hunger strike, it remains to be seen whether this is a genuine step towards justice or a tactical maneuver to quell the public outcry. We need to watch closely what charges are pursued and how the civilian court handles the case.
It's a situation that could have lasting implications for the future of Ugandan politics. Now, from a story of political defiance, we shift our focus to a heartbreaking tragedy that has struck Mali.
An artisanal gold mine in western Mali collapsed on Saturday, leading to a devastating loss of life. 43 people, most of them women, perished in this terrible accident.
These individuals were scavenging for gold scraps in abandoned open-pit mines, remnants of industrial mining operations. It's a stark reminder of the perilous conditions faced by artisanal miners who often work with little to no safety measures in place, driven by economic necessity to take extreme risks.
Sadly, this is not an isolated incident. Just a few weeks ago, another mine collapse in Mali claimed the lives of 13 people who drowned in a flooded tunnel. These recurring tragedies underscore the urgent need for better safety regulations and support for artisanal miners who are often marginalized and overlooked, despite playing a significant role in the global gold supply chain.
It's a sobering thought. The gold that adorns our jewelry or powers our electronics could be coming from mines where safety is an afterthought and lives are tragically lost. Speaking of global connections, our next story takes us to the Middle East, where tensions are simmering.
Israel has received a shipment of heavy Mk-84 bombs from the United States. These are powerful weapons, each weighing 2,000 pounds and capable of causing widespread destruction with a large blast radius.
What's particularly concerning is that the export of these specific bombs was previously blocked by the Biden administration due to concerns about their potential impact on densely populated areas in Gaza. However, President Trump lifted that block, raising eyebrows among international observers.
The timing of this shipment is also significant. It comes shortly after a fragile ceasefire was reached between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. The arrival of these bombs has understandably fueled anxieties about the possibility of renewed conflict in the region, adding another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation.
The implications of this move extend far beyond the immediate region. It has put President Trump's foreign policy back in the spotlight and sparked concern among European allies. In fact, French President Emmanuel Macron has called for an emergency meeting with European leaders to discuss President Trump's actions.
This meeting is being seen as a sign of growing unease within the European Union about the direction of U.S. foreign policy. Macron has tried to maintain a diplomatic approach towards Trump since his re-election in November, but this emergency meeting suggests that even his patience might be wearing thin. The transatlantic relationship, already strained, seems to be facing yet another test.
It'll be interesting to see what, if any, concrete actions emerge from this meeting and what message it sends to both Washington and the wider world. Now, shifting gears, we move from international politics to a story that combines personal drama with questions of identity and belonging.
This case has taken some truly unexpected twists and turns and really highlights the complexities of immigration law in South Africa.
Annabella Rungo, the mother of Chidima Adechina, the reigning Miss Universe Nigeria, was recently arrested in South Africa on charges of identity fraud.
Rungo, a Mozambican national, had previously been declared an undesirable person by South African authorities due to issues with her residency status. It seems her past caught up with her.
This arrest actually follows another controversy involving her daughter. Edichina was disqualified from the Miss South Africa pageant after it was revealed she didn't hold South African citizenship. It seems the scrutiny surrounding that disqualification led authorities to take a closer look at Rungo's background.
And to add yet another layer to this intricate story, Edichina's young child was found with Rungo at the time of the arrest. Child protection services have since become involved, raising concerns about the well-being of the child caught in the middle of this legal battle.
It's a situation that raises many questions about citizenship immigration and the often difficult choices families face. Now from South Africa, we return to Nigeria, where a tragic incident has brought the ongoing conflict between the Nigerian military and armed gangs into sharp focus.
A Nigerian military jet mistakenly bombed a village in Katsina State, resulting in the deaths of at least 6 civilians. It's a stark reminder of the human cost of this conflict.
The intended target of the airstrike was a group of armed gangs who had attacked a police base in the area, killing 2 policemen and a vigilante. But according to eyewitnesses, the jet circled the village before striking a cluster of huts belonging to a family. The collateral damage is truly heartbreaking.
Amnesty International has called for a thorough investigation into this incident, and rightfully so. There needs to be accountability when such tragic mistakes occur, especially when they involve the loss of innocent lives.
This incident also underscores a larger problem. There have been other instances of deadly airstrikes by the Nigerian military in recent months, raising serious concerns about the precision and oversight of these operations. Take, for example, the December 2023 incident, where a Nigerian military airstrike mistakenly hit a religious gathering. That tragic event resulted in the deaths of at least 85 people, mostly women and children.
These repeated tragedies highlight the urgent need for greater transparency and accountability within the Nigerian military. Civilians caught in the crossfire deserve protection, and those responsible for such devastating errors need to be held accountable.
It's a sobering reminder that even in the fight against criminal elements, the protection of innocent lives must be paramount. Now, in a completely different turn of events, a prominent Nigerian monarch has been found in FBI custody, facing some serious allegations.
This story has taken us from the palaces of Nigeria to the courtrooms of the United States, and it involves accusations of large-scale financial fraud.
Oba Joseph Olaide, the Epetu of Epetumodu in Nigeria, vanished in 2024, leaving his loyal stool vacant and causing quite a stir in his community. It turns out he'd been detained by the FBI.
Aloidi, who also holds U.S. citizenship, is now facing charges of defrauding the U.S. government of a staggering $4.2 million in COVID-19 relief funds. It's a shocking development that has sent ripples through both Nigeria and the U.S.
The details of the alleged scheme are quite intricate. Aloidi is accused of falsifying documents for his 6 registered companies to obtain loans through the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, also known as EIDL.
The FBI's investigation claims that Oloyede used these funds for personal expenses rather than for the intended purpose of supporting businesses during the pandemic. And if that's not enough, he's also accused of assisting others in carrying out similar fraud schemes.
This case has drawn the attention of multiple U.S. agencies, including the FBI IRS Criminal Investigation and the U.S. Department of Transportation's Office of Inspector General. The scale and scope of the alleged fraud are certainly significant.
This case demonstrates that financial crimes can have international reach, and that law enforcement agencies across borders are willing to collaborate to bring those responsible to justice. And on that note, the U.S. has announced plans to deport Nigerian nationals who have been convicted of crimes or have violated immigration laws.
This announcement has generated considerable concern in Nigeria, particularly regarding the humane treatment of deportees and the potential strain their return will place on their families and communities.
It's a situation that raises complex questions about balancing the enforcement of immigration laws with the humane treatment of individuals and the potential impact on their home countries.
The initial group slated for deportation consists of those currently serving prison sentences in the U.S. They'll be followed by those who have exhausted all appeals after being found in violation of immigration laws.
And adding to the logistical challenges, the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria has stated that all deportations will be routed through Lagos. This raises concerns about the capacity of the Nigerian government to effectively handle the influx of returnees and ensure their smooth reintegration into society.
The Nigerian government has called on the U.S. to ensure that the deportation process is conducted in accordance with international conventions and with respect for the dignity of those being deported. It's a delicate situation that requires careful consideration of both legal and humanitarian aspects.
From political protests and mine collapses to international arms deals and financial fraud, the news today has certainly taken us on a journey across continents, exposing us to a wide spectrum of human experiences.
Out of all these stories, is there one that particularly resonated with you?
What strikes me is the thread of resilience that runs through many of these narratives. We see it in Kizza Besigye's unwavering commitment to his beliefs in the artisanal miners, risking their lives to provide for their families, and in the communities grappling with the aftermath of tragedies like the airstrike in Nigeria. These stories remind us of the enduring strength of the human spirit, even in the face of adversity.
It's a powerful reminder that even amidst global challenges and personal struggles, there's always hope, and it underscores the importance of staying informed, engaging in thoughtful discussions, and working towards a world where justice, compassion, and understanding prevail.
Absolutely. These stories are not just headlines, they're reflections of the complexities and interconnectedness of our world. They invite us to look beyond the surface and grapple with the deeper issues at play.
Thank you for listening to today's top news headlines on IAMC Radio and Podcast.